Okay, it's 6:16. This is video 129, and the topic of this quick little lecture here is factoring with the -1. So they love that on the Regents, and it comes up all the time. So I might as well have a little talk about it and see what it means geometrically, because we did do stuff like this, and be able to factor these as well. So like I said, you'll see it next year all over the place. They love the factor with -1. So what does the -1 really mean? It means you rotate something 180 degrees on the graph paper. And that you'll learn next year in your Regents classes. They talk more and more about this. And so what they're trying to say is when the first term, which I'm pointing out here, is a negative squared, it turns out to be a parabola that's upside down. When we did functions, we talked about that. And whereas it had a positive sign, it's a parabola U that goes like that. Okay? So this is a 180-degree rotation of this, it turns out. It looks something like this when you do the math. But again, that's for your high school math teachers to teach you, not me. I'm just explaining to you that the negative coefficient on the first term, or the negative in general, the -1, comes up all the time in this math. So it has a meaning. So what it means is I rotated 180 degrees. So I need to factor this. Again, we presume it's factorable. And I'll show you the easy way, and then I'll show you that this method of grouping always works. It really doesn't matter what you do. So I'll show you two ways, as I mentioned over here. And the first way is the easiest way, and of course that's the way most people would teach you. But it's really important for you to see that you can work these guys out, and it always works. You can always factor something that's factorable, and like I said, we'll get deeper into these ideas. But this is the next logical step because it gives you additional practice in factoring these quadratic trinomials, which are factorable. Okay, so the easy way is to factor out the -1. So I'll put the -1 there here. Let's make it even clearer. Okay. And then just factoring out a -1 here, and then I cross-check myself. And you should look carefully at what I did here. And this is just basically what you do during the test. If you were asked to graph a parabola, which you'll be asked to do, I won't ask you, but your high school teachers will. And there you see, I factored out the -1. So this is a common trick, and you should learn it early on in your math career. And now I leave this aside, and then I just do the math that I've been doing all along. I have x squared plus 5x minus 3x minus 15 in any order. And then keeping that -1 on the outside, I have x times x plus 5, rewriting the x plus 5. I have my -3x. And again, keeping the -1 outside, you see what I'm doing here. I have x minus 3 times x plus 5 in any order. So this is this. And these will turn out to be the x-intercepts. I won't teach you that, but you will be taught that next year. And this is telling you that the parabola, so to speak, is upside down. It's opening down, as they'll tell you. But again, we'll avoid these conversations and just focus on factoring for the rest of the year, and maybe division as well. But there you go, and there's the proper factoring. So I said I was going to teach you two ways, and I think it's important to do that. I'm going to do the method of grouping over here for the second guy. And just to show you that it works, it always works, and we'll keep it in the back of our mind, and it becomes very necessary when the coefficient is a number bigger than or less than 1. We didn't talk about less than 1 yet. We really need to do that, actually. So here we go. So I did the first way. I just factored out the -1, and 90% of you, or 99% are going to say, that's good enough for me. I know how to do it. This is completely factored. But I'm going to go here, and do it anyway. Okay? And I'm going to rewrite it. And now I'm just going to follow the steps that I was taught. A -1 times positive 15 is negative 15 and negative 2. So I have to think up of two numbers that multiply out to negative 15 and add up to negative 2, where the negative is bigger than the positive. Well, basically we did it over there. So that turns out to be negative x squared minus 5x, in any order, keep saying that, plus 3x plus 15. And I'm going to assume you know how I got these two numbers over here, and I'm going to, sorry the dog, I'm going to write it out like this, okay? And now I'm going to factor out the x, okay? And what's going to be left? Well, negative x, okay? Minus what? Okay? See what I did there? And check yourself now. X times negative x is negative x squared. X times negative 5 is negative 5x. And then I'm going to take a good look at this and then look at this over here and decide that it's much better to factor out, and then I'll just write this over here. I'll write x plus 5 because I'm going to do something here. And now I'm going to factor out the negative 1. So there we go. I could have skipped this middle step here, but I just want to show you that it's logical, that I could have factored out the x, but you see it's a little better to factor out the negative x. Well, let's see what we got. We got x plus 5 times negative x plus 3. Okay? But don't you see that if I factor out the negative 1 again, I get it. Okay? So a lot of steps there. I could have taken some shortcuts, but this turns out to be the same as this. And the point here is that the grouping works. What's an easier method? Of course, just factor out the number 1, the negative 1, excuse me, and then pretend the whole thing is positive and just patch on the negative 1 at the end of it. And by the way, this will be written in the books. They don't write negative 1, just write out the way it come out in the algebra books, just like that. Okay? All right? And so now, having done that, I'm going to go over to the next one over here, and I'll give you some assignments. Today's assignment will be another 5 from the Regents book, but I'll soon append other ones like this on. And let's take a look and move the camera over here, and let's do this one over here so we get some more practice when the, again, just when the coefficient is not 1 here, and in this case it's a similar one that we were talking about over here. So note again that this is going to be a parabola that is upside down, so to speak. It opens down. It would be skinnier, but again, as I talked to you, it looks something like that. And in high school, you'll be asked to find out where it crosses the x-axis and things of that nature, which you won't do in this particular class. And so I need to factor it. And I'm not going to factor it both ways. I'll just factor it, factoring out the negative 1, and then you'll get some more practice in seeing how I do this math for. So there we go. There's the negative 1 outside. Okay? And we'll just leave that there till the end, and Mike over here will just turn it into a negative sign. And the experienced math freshman, the experienced high school math student, knows, oh, it's just a parabola going upside down. And the negative 1 turns out to be really important in problems on the Regents. They love it. So let's see. I factored out the negative 1. There's a plus x, and there's a minus x. Weaker students, check your work. This times this is this. This times this is this. This times this. These are equivalent. That's what we say in math. They're the same thing. It's no different. So let's see. 2 times negative 6 is negative 12. And 4 times negative 3 is negative 12, but 4 minus 3 is 1. So there I found the key. And that's why I'm giving you extra practice today, okay? I don't get direct feedback because we're not in class here. And by the way, there's the positive 4 times the negative 3. Weaker students, this is explaining my reasoning. And one more time, this is equivalent to this. So this is equivalent to this is equivalent to this is equivalent to this. That's how math works. Leave the negative 1 outside and factor out the 2. So that would be x, 2x squared, plus 2. Check yourself. Check yourself. Practice it. Make sure you can do this. 2x times x is 2x squared. 2x plus times positive 2 is 2x. And then factor out, put the x plus 2 here, cut down on confusions, and see what number works. But you can see it's the negative 3. Okay? Keep the negative 1 on the outside. And there you have it. 2x minus 3 times x plus 2. And there we go, dropping the 1. And you can FOIL it and check it any time. Most kids don't bother because they know that if it works and it gets set up like this, it's been broken up correctly. So there you go. There you go. And I'll give you a little bit of practice, and I want to talk about some other things a little later this morning. So there it is. If you're pausing or anything like that, you can see what I did. Some of you probably found using the grouping method over here on the right-hand side that it might have been a little confusing. You should do it once or twice and assure yourself that it works. And really what kids find is that this becomes this. And think about it, when I took out the negative 1 here, a positive times a positive is a positive times a negative is a negative. Because some kids say, but what about x plus 5? I just factored out the negative 1. This on the bottom is the same as this on the top. They're exactly the same. In mathematical jargon, they are equivalent. So I'll get this video off to you, and then we'll talk about some other things. And we'll give you some practice, like I said, but mainly from the Regents book, so you can get used to this business of breaking it up and factoring it and then getting it together. Okay?